Before we leave you, like we said, we wanted to do an MCLA national poll. So this is compiled from me, totally, top 25. I've talked to 25 coaches over the off season rather in 2024, and now this 2025. This is my humble opinion on the MCLA national poll, and I'll tell you, we got a couple of ALC teams that we've added in. So without further ado, we're going to kind of blast through 25 through 11 and then get you the top 10 really good. So number 25, we've got Oregon coming in at number 25. 24, we're going to take Michigan State, the UMLC champions. 23 is where we're going to put one of our ALC teams, West Virginia, who is a lot of players back. They got some transfers coming in, which we're excited about. We talked about it with Coach Hauk. You can listen to that episode on our YouTube page as well. 22, South Carolina, we're going to put them there. Pete Candela coming back, the national championship head coach. They're trying to get back to their national championship ways and make some noise. 21, their rivals in South Carolina, Clemson. And we've talked about Clemson really being a super hyped up program this year. If you go back to our episode with Panchito Ojeda, he said that they were really going to be a team that he thought might make a lot of noise. They bring back Will Leonard, a defenseman, but they bring back a lot more than that. All the attackmen, Aiden McNulty, Holden Morrison, Landon Snyder, Andrew Smith, Ian Jackson, really good player there. They bring back a lot offensively, and they bring back their goaltender, a couple of LSMs as well. So we're really excited about what Andrew Tobias is going to do there down at Clemson. Number 20, we're going to go with Arizona here, who made a little bit of noise, but they got a lot of transfers coming in as well for the Wildcats. Number 19, Cal Poly. We'll put Cal Poly at 19th, and they've got a really good player that you may never heard of. Ryan Sanders, the attackman, is going to lead that group. They've got a really good squad coming back. 4 All-Americans returning for them. 18 is Florida State. I think Florida State, Jonas Klingerman down there in Tallahassee, looking to have a good year. 17, we'll put Auburn. Auburn, a ton of transfers coming in. They've revamped their whole offense, really. They've got transfers from Palm Beach Atlantic. They've got transfers from Tampa. They've got transfers from all over. And they bring back a lot of their defensemen. A ton of their defensemen return. So J.J. Arminio, good luck to him and the Tigers this season. 16, the CLC champions Northeastern. This is a team that made a lot of noise last year, had a big win to open their season against Liberty down here in Lynchburg, and made it all the way there where they played Liberty again and then lost in the first round of the MCLA tournament. But they returned one of the best goaltenders in the country for them in Sam Bellamy. And then they've got a couple of good players as well. Wynton Bastion, Ryan McCarthy, both returning for them. So that's going to be a good team to watch out. 15, we're going to put Colorado State. And Colorado State is, A, they're the most winningest program in the MCLA's history, but B, really well-coached program as well. So looking forward to seeing them. I know they had a really good LSM and Cale Kissel coming back from All-American season. And then a big NCAA transfer from Cleveland State, Joe DiDonatis, is going to join them as a transfer. So very exciting stuff for them. But they bring back a ton of their roster as well. 14, this might surprise some people. I know they were in the national semifinals last year. Go with UCSB, the Gauchos. Yes, they bring some players back, but they also lose a lot of players as well. The depth there may not be as big, but hey, they're a really well-coached team. The Gauchos are not going to be taken lightly. Number 13, we're going to go with Colorado. Colorado's another team that brought in some really good transfers. Although they lost a lot of All-Americans, they bring in some transfers. Face-off specialist Alex Frederick comes over from, it's kind of the Richmond and Utah. And then Cooper Penoyer come from NCAA Division I Canisius College, also bringing back Mike Kolagowski at the face-off dot as well. Plus a plethora of players that are coming back for them. We like Colorado here to make some noise after an MCLA tournament appearance. Number 12, Chapman. We're going to give Chapman number 12 big losses on the All-American side. Jason Bollinger, their goaltender, maybe the best defenseman in the country last year, and Cam Morris is transferring out, lose a lot of offensive talent. But they do bring back some guys like Nico Orsino at D-mid. I really like Dante DeCalabas and Luke Morissette for their attack line. They're going to be really good coming back for them, but they got to replace a lot of guys. We'll see if they can do it out in out in Orange, California. Number 11, Tennessee. This is where we put you down, okay? So new coach, again, but still returning a ton of players are the Volunteers. So Mason Kane obviously is going to be back. Logan Aiello going to be back. They return Max DeMella, the faceoff dot, who was really good for them last year. Continuity has to be there. Can they take that next step? We got them at number 11 in this poll. Number 10, we got the Virginia Tech Hokies. The Hokies, I know a lot of people are going to make a lot of big deal out of Aiden Smith leaving. That's a huge loss for them. Jared Cole also not there, but they do have a lot of talent still coming back, especially defensively. Patrick Droney coming back, Kyle Sudler coming back, Christian Edwards coming back. It's going to be about what they do at the offensive side of the ball and how they're going to replace those two-star players. I think three guys here, Jake Blybaum, Kyle Dixon, and Trevor Stocks is really impressed in the fall as well. I think those guys are going to be prime. They're still really well coached by Coach Ojeda. They're going to be right there right when it's said and done at the ALCs. Number 9, Cal. We're going to go with the Cal Golden Bears here, and let's introduce you to a name that you might have heard of last year, Hale Brown, their faceoff specialist, one of the best in the country, only a freshman last year, only going to get better. They're bringing back a lot of guys that they didn't have in 2024. They have their 2 top scorers from 2023 in Liam Picola and Henry Perkins, both coming back to join that crew that doesn't lose a lot at all. They're going to be loaded. They're going to have a lot of depth, are the Cal Golden Bears. Number 8, we'll take the SELC champion Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. Georgia Tech's always well coached. Ken Lovick has been doing it for years. They've got great players all around. Pierce Quarles is a guy to look out for this year. Hudson Higgins on defense, and then Brooks Barrow as well at their attack. They brought in some freshmen that they really like. I think Georgia Tech's going to surprise some people, and they'll be again right up there. They're SELC champions, so they definitely deserve a lot of respect. Number 7, San Diego State. Now, San Diego State was probably the team that gave BYU the hardest time in the tournament last year. They're returning one of the best face-off guys in the country. First-team All-American Tristan Kaiser. Brian DeVito is back. I know they lose Jeff Huang there at the attack line, but Brian DeVito back for them, and their whole defense is back intact. Blair Weiss, Tyler Brown, Nate Warren, and their goaltender, Carl Hedberg, also back for San Diego State. That's a very dangerous team out west. Number 6, Texas. We know that Kyle Hartzell is going to have his team ready to go. They're going to be primed, and they're going to be a tough team. And speaking of tough, they got a lot of transfers coming in from Tufts University to their team. They add in from Tufts Kevin Christmas, their attackman. Ethan Gatto, another attackman from Tufts, is still there. They're working on some more transfers from the NCAA Division I level, but they do bring in defenseman Jackson Bishop from Drexel University and Luke Sanga from Utah. So that's going to be fun. Maury Stein is back, and I know they lose Sterling Hupp and Jacob Jackson, but this team is still really loaded with talent and really well coached. Texas is going to be a beast in the MCLA. Number 5, a team that made a ton of noise in the MCLA tournament last year, Arizona State. We're going to put them up in the top 5. Arizona State bringing back a ton of guys. The only guy they really lose is Aiden Shaw, their goaltender, and that's a big loss. But one of the guys that I think could be one of the first-team defensive players on the All-American team is Aiden Cox. Aiden Cox, the defenseman, was dynamite last year. They bring back their entire attack line, and Braden Rome, Kyle Decker, James Gartland, all should be back. And they're going to get Blake Driscoll, their faceoff guy, who was injured last year. He'll return this year, so that's a huge thing. This team is loaded with talent, and they get some defensive help from the transfer portal. Hudson Murakami from Westminster College at the NCAA Division II level. Steve Butterfield, who's a midfielder from Stevenson College, NCAA D3. I think they'll look for him to make some noise as well. Arizona State transfers, a lot of guys coming back, and they were already a really good team. Looking forward to see what they do. All right, number 4. I know maybe I might get some flack for this one, but I'm buying in on the Florida Gators and what they're doing. And we know about Dylan Hess, right? Dylan Hess coming over, the 3-time NCAA All-American D-Mid, coming over from Georgetown, playing here at Florida. Man, that's going to be a big upgrade for them. Plus, they get other guys too. Queens College transfer Andrew Sledzik is coming. They already returned 2 All-Americans in Ethan Gerber and Dylan Weinberg on their midfield. They bring in Colby Kudla, NCAA Division I Vermont transfer, to their defense. Plus, they return a ton of defenders, a ton of attackmen, probably 7 or 8 guys that were impact players for them last year. I think with the addition of Hess and plus a ton of other transfers here, Florida could very quickly become right at the top of the MCLA. Number 3, that's where we put the Liberty Flames. We'll put the Liberty Flames right there. We know about Keaton Mose and Connor Giltonen and Caleb Hammett, the Drip King coming in. That's a huge transfer as well. But, man, they have a lot of their guys coming back as well on offense. Braden Landry back, Luke Branham back, Hunter Rockhill, Easton Cahill. And they mentioned a guy named Gabe Dimmel in our interview with them that they really, really like. This is going to be an interesting year. The question for Liberty, can they get the goaltending that they need? They got to replace Eric Warnstrom there, so we'll see if they can do that. Number 2, Utah Valley, who finished last year as the number 2 team in the country, national runners-up. They bring back a ton. Jack Baird, defenseman, first-team All-American. Max Sturgill at the goaltender. Jacob London at faceoff. Blake Yates and Nate Huntsman on offense. All All-Americans. But they not only do that, they bring in one of the best transfers as well. Another guy that will be up for MCLA National Player of the Year is Gabe King, their attackman from Southern Virginia University, comes over to Utah Valley. He's got a ton of promise. And they bring in some depth at goaltender, too. Patrick Thomas from Rollins College. Been talking to a lot of guys out there. They really like him to challenge Max Sturgill. And they might have a two-way system going there. It's going to be really fun. Also bringing back guys like Boo Rare, Ty Armstrong, Zach Bankhauser. Ton coming back for Utah Valley with their new coach, Colin Maxfield, at the helm. That could be a fun year. But number 1, I think you already knew, BYU. Yes, they lose National Player of the Year, Jake Halverson, but they got a ton coming back. Stu Vassow, Taylor Mason, who is as a defenseman really could be up for National Player of the Year. The Taylor brothers and Gavin and Alton Taylor. They bring in some transfers. Sawyer Beck from Utah Tech comes over as an LSM. Tate Craig from Westminster College at midfield. They bring back Tate Giles, Andrew Friedman, Taylor Crump. Easton Wilkie at goaltender is only going to be a sophomore. He's already going to be up for those All-American honors. And watch out for this freshman. They got a freshman coming in, an attackman from Utah, was the 2022 Player of the Year in the state of Utah, Hutton Murphy. Watch the name. He could make a big impact early. We'll see if they can do it. But Match Next Group already looking to repeat as MCLA champions. So there you go. Like, comment, subscribe to our channel, and I'm sure we'll get some comments about that as well. So for our guests in Keaton Mose, and Caleb Hammett, Connor Giltonen, for our esteemed producer and Andrew Musser, I'm Dan Zumpano. We thank you for listening. Check out the ALC Sidelines podcast on YouTube, on the ALC Network YouTube channel. And then, of course, check us out on all of our social media pages at Atlantic Lacrosse Conference on Instagram and on X at Atlantic LC. We'll see you next time. We thank you for listening to this episode of the ALC Sidelines podcast.